Hey, Basket Brains, Kirby here, aka Darkwing Disc, and I tried to go in an all almond diet. It was just nuts. Alongside of me is Ollie DePina, and Ollie doesn't play soccer because he likes it, he does it for the kicks. Welcome to episode 68 of the KO Disc Golf Show. Episode 68 is the Machamp episode. Best player to wear the number 68 is Jaromir Jagr of the NHL. Red Sox players to wear the number 68, we got Nick Birdie and Matt Barnes. Mariners, we got George Kirby. And Ollie, you want to hit us with the Giants?
Most notable Giant will be a guard from 1977 to 1983, J.T. Turner.
It's a good name. All right. All right, get right into the KO question of the week. This week, the KO question is, what is the best song for disc golf, or the best disc golf song? Either while you're playing, getting ready to play, whatever it might be. Disc golf, one song. What do you got? Ollie, how you doing, man? How's it going?
Good, works good. You know, the weather's been awesome. Been biking a bunch. I think I'm like 60 plus miles since getting my bike last week, which I'm just hyped on. But yeah, feeling physically and mentally really good. And yeah, been good.
That's sick. How are the legs doing with all those miles?
Good, feeling strong. Like yesterday, I was like, oh, I'm feeling strong. Like I'm feeling good.
Sick.
Not too. Yeah, it's definitely Queen Anne Hill. After the hill ride, I'm like, I gotta really go like bike out on a low gear to like get the legs moving. I'm like, this is not intensive anymore. You know, I gotta get the acid a little worked out and stuff like that. So
Nice. Yeah, so I mentioned last week that we had a big announcement, and I'd like to just kind of get right into it right off the rip here. Want to start off by saying, uh, Emerald City Discs isn't going anywhere. It's going to stay here for a really long time. I'm also going to be staying with Emerald City Discs for a very long time and maintaining my ownership here. Um, Brian has sold his portion of Emerald City Discs. Working with Brian over the last 3 years has been awesome. He's, my best friend, one of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding. We're still going to be homies. He's still going to help out a lot with the transition of the store and stuff like that. But yeah, so Emerald City Disc is going to be under some new ownership. It's going to be under myself, Kayla Signs Oridi, and Don Oridi, who I'm sure most of you have met in the community and have seen around. So why don't you guys come on in and say hi?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're really happy to have you on and just kind of talk about ECD and what it's going to look like kind of going forward. We thought this would be a good way to kind of answer any potential questions that anybody might have and kind of have Ollie kind of be the voice of the disc golf community. So, Ollie, yeah, why don't you start us off?
yeah, first off, just excited for this and everything like that. What kind of things do you think you want to implement and change? Like, what do you think the changes of with you guys coming in and taking in ownership of ECD? What do you think you want that to look like, and what are you kind of hoping to see with that?
I mean, I think the first and most fundamental thing is that we're building on a legacy that Brian and Kirby started. And that feels really good. It feels really good to come into something knowing that there's a really solid foundation, that we have such an incredible community, that, we've got these regulars who come into the store all the time. So it feels it just feels really good. Also, this happens because Don and I spend a lot of time in the store ourselves. So that feels really good. I think in terms of forward plans, initially there's not a whole lot of big changes that people will see. Again, we have a really strong foundation to work with. So there's not we've got to come through and overhaul anything and everything. It's just about how can we make small tweaks that maybe can push it to the next level, or how can we continue to evolve this community and the store and, everything that's been built around it.
Yeah, job number one is don't mess it up. It's already it's already a fantastic shop, fantastic foundation, like Kayla said. We have a very strong community in the Seattle area, and we really want to continue to provide the discs and the discussion and the atmosphere. It feels like a clubhouse in the store a lot of times, and we need all of that to stay exactly the way that Brian and Kirby had already set that up. And so mission number one, don't mess up a good thing. So that's the first thing. I think as we look over time, like particularly when we get to the off season when things slow down, like, we might make some tweaks to the website. We've been kind of thinking about how do we make the website, easier for folks to buy discs on, um, and so kind of thinking through some of those things. But as far as like how this, we've already made a small tweak in store hours, right? So we did a little bit of that because we have the later summer daylight times. We know that folks are getting off of work around 5 o'clock, and so we wanted to stay open a little later so that folks have an opportunity to stop by the store either before or after around a little later into the day. So might be some small things like that, but we don't plan on making some major overhaul or anything, especially because Brian and Kirby have kind of built a well-oiled machine. Like, it's a fantastic shop, it's a fantastic community, and job number one is to kind of keep that going.
Yeah. Yeah, the change, the 5 to 6 o'clock hour that we've changed has been awesome. It's been like really, really busy in here. And I will say, like, selfishly, like driving through Seattle at 6 o'clock compared to 5 o'clock has been like big quality of life change. So that's been cool too. Yeah, yeah. So that's been really nice. Yeah. And that's going to be like little minor stuff like that to just kind of like, round out the edges and kind of improve stuff on the backside. I think, like Don said, the website, that'll probably be like one of the biggest changes that people will see going forward is just a more like a better constructed website, and have a website that has maybe a little more attention, kind of given to it and a little more detail, kind of thought out. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Love to hear that. Yeah, it's awesome to hear some of the things. The next question I was going to ask was like, what kind of were some of the things that made you kind of fall in love with ECD? You said you were in there all the time doing those things, and so it's just kind of fun to hear. I remember my like first time going into ECD, and like you hit on it so much with that last answer. Like it feels like a clubhouse. It's really like sometimes I can get like a little intimidated going shopping or going to those places, but never really at ECD, which has been awesome with that. But kind of, yeah, just like what are your favorite things about ECD right now, and like what it kind of expand on that. Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, like I like being there. I think we've kind of like part of this is like, Don and I have our like Friday afternoon kind of routine, which is you go play at Lakewood, we go play at SeaTac, and then we kind of swing by Emerald City and then, head over for our, see our people over at Beer Star. And that's just part of our like rotation. So if you can't find us in the store, we're at Beer Star.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, there's always something new to discover as well. Like, I come from an art background, so there's something about like just, I know this sounds so cheesy, but like the colors and the designs, like every time I'm in there, I'm like, oh, there's a new one in here. Hang on, let me see what this one is. And so for me, it's just kind of, it feels, I've always felt welcomed. And as a female player, like knowing that I can come into the store and there's something for me, maybe I throw a little differently or my arm speed isn't as fast. And that's always been there. I think the other part is like, I met Kirby because to me, he's Coach Kirby, because he was like a huge part of like my own disc golf journey and helping me. Like I didn't have any kind of run up at all until I worked with Kirby and figuring those things out. Like, so for me, Emerald City has just been this like little anchor point in my own kind of journey in disc golf.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, one of the things that, like with so many online retailers, you have such big players like Infinite and OTB. While they can do a lot, and, we plan to do a lot with like, kind of making sure that you can check out a disc and get a side profile. There's just nothing like going to a shop and holding a disc in your hand, right? And I think, being able to go in and look at the dome on a disc and nerd out over, different colors and different stamps and, kind of comparing discs side by side, like you can only really do that at a physical location, right? And, like being a Discmania thrower myself, like I like to nerd out with Kirby on new releases. So shout out to Discmania.
Yeah. Founder
But like,
coming out soon.
yeah. So it's fun to like go in and kind of have a place where you can kind of geek out a little bit on disc golf, but also if you're a new player, you have a set of folks that are experienced that can guide them to the right discs, whether that's Innova, Discraft, or a used disc, lightweight. right? It's a welcoming atmosphere. We want to have people be successful. Like, we want people to have fun playing disc golf, and so if that means we need to start stocking some different discs in order to meet a different customer demographic that we're not currently hitting right now. Whether like, I know we need some work on our lightweight discs, so we're going to be working on that a little bit. But if there's new disc lines coming out, like the Climo disc line, we have a display in the front of the store that Brian and Kirby had set up a while back, and getting all of those new molds into the store as quickly as possible, because like, people are excited about them. It's really kind of the fun aspect of disc golf, where we can kind of turn some of the things that we like to do on the weekend and hobbies on our side into something that's more meaningful for the disc golf community here in the Seattle area.
Totally. I love to hear like the changes already with the 12 to 6 just is like so much of a fun and so much of a passion thing. Like, I remember like a day that I know that my shop's like ECD is going to be selling this new disc that I've been wanting. I'm going to go down to that shop, and if it makes it easier for me to get there, it's just that much better. And yeah, no, I love the passion and everything with that. It totally is why I fell in love with ECD as well. I know I love when I came in, the new neon sign for the glow in the dark stuff was there. It like catches my eyes so much, and just any of those new changes are always so fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, before we um, keep going with the questions, I think one of the things that would probably be really helpful is if Kaela and Don, if you guys could kind of tell everybody about like your background and like where you come from. Like, like, I know you guys are both from Texas originally, right? And then kind of like what your background and like work is and where you guys have been doing for the last kind of few years outside of disc golf.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I'm originally from San Antonio, and where I met Kaela, and we've been playing disc golf or I've been playing disc golf since about 2006. I was a baseball player back, through high school, and kind of, past college, like, still like throwing things. So kind of took up disc golf then. But my background, I used to work retail for a grocery company out of Texas. I still work in retail, but these days I do more of the back office type of work. I do data and analytics work for a large retail company. I'll keep that secret for now. But we moved to Phoenix in 2015, and, continued to play disc golf there a little bit. But, during the pandemic, we wanted to get out of the heat and, all and go somewhere that was probably a little bit more aligned with, what we like to do outdoors and in our free time. And I had been traveling back and forth to Seattle for a company I was working for at that time. And just every time I would, step off the plane, like, this place felt like home. And, we, made a list of cities that we potentially wanted to move to. Seattle floated to the top of the list. And then, we came out here back in 2020. So, and have loved it ever since. Like, there's, we definitely don't want to leave the PNW area. This is definitely home for us.
I didn't know anything about disc golf until I met Don, and didn't actually know what it was until we hauled a bunch of discs from Texas to Phoenix. And I was like, why do we have all these discs? And kind of started playing with him, but for the most part, I was just in for the ride of like hiking and, throwing 7 throws to his 1 kind of thing. But when we moved here, it was kind of a game changer, just because like it's so pretty. It's like, why wouldn't you be outside? The weather's great. Like, we have a love-hate relationship with trees in terms of disc golf. That's fine. But it was just it was just, kind of a journey. Professionally, for me, I worked in the arts for about 15 years, specifically working in art museums. I was the director of education. So all of those cool programs that art museums do, family days, film festivals, adult programs, whatever it is, I kind of headed that up. And then more recently, when we moved here, I worked in the education technology sector. And then the through line on all that is I'm a lifelong Girl Scout, and have been involved with Girl Scouting for like literally from the womb, I think. But I serve currently as president of the board of the Olive Baden Powell Society, which fundraises for the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. So that's kind of my more full-time gig, is making sure that people understand the power of what enabling a young woman to be a leader and be courageous and be confident in this world, and helping to make sure that they financially can support those opportunities. So that's my kind of more full-time gig when I'm not doing disc golf things. So yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love to say that now that ECD is partially women owned, which is just awesome. I think that's like super something to be proud of, and it's just awesome. Like, I know you were spearheading some stuff with Lady of the Lakes and recently, and those tournaments are a series that I just really enjoy to support and try to follow and stuff. So just awesome. Something, yeah, really proud to be saying now. Yeah, it's awesome. Any changes with? I know you said there's not gonna be too many changes or anything. Will there be? I know there's people are big followers. You got the jersey on, the box squad. Anything different going on with the box squad, or is that kind of going to be going the same thing? Like,
Yeah,
No,
Box Squad's gonna kind of remain as is and kind of keep doing their thing. I really want to make it really known and make this very like stress the point that Brian didn't leave the shop because he's leaving disc golf or anything like that. Like, he's definitely going to be staying involved in the game. He's got kids that are 10 and like 7. So definitely trying to spend more time with the kids. Like, he was telling me that he's really excited to coach Finn's like baseball team and stuff like that. So without ECD, on his shoulders, it's definitely going to give him more time to spend with family and, maintain Baka Bak fried chicken as well. Still the best fried chicken sandwich, still the best strips you're going to get in the city, without a doubt. So, yeah,
this
Box
also means that
Squads.
people might be able to play with him more often. Like, you might actually have him on your card instead
Oh,
of,
yeah. Yeah,
having
like, you're
that
actually
Yeah,
going to
there's
distance.
going to
like,
be more tournaments.
for sure. Like, I'll actually be able to like hang out with him outside of just like sitting at the shop, like working. So it'll be cool there. But yeah, Box Squad will all kind of just like remain the same. Kaela, Don, and I have talked a little bit on the backside about like what Team ECD is going to look like. And we have some plans kind of like in the works about how like we're going to expand the team, bring more people on. In the past, the idea is that Box Squad's been kind of our amateur team to kind of like grow like the community and kind of be this like resource for players. And then Team ECD was going to be more the pro side of things, which is a bunch of just, killers kind of out to do their own kind of thing. And we kind of want to find like a fun middle ground between like, hey, this is a professional team and a bunch of these people here are going to be kind of doing their own thing. But we can also be a resource for each other. And if you're going to be playing the same tournament, like, and you have the ability to play a practice round together, like, do it, go and take a picture together and stuff like that. So kind of finding the middle ground between the two teams, I think, is going to be something that we're going to be searching for. And like we said, we're going to expand the numbers. Not exactly have a hard number on there, but definitely bring a handful of more people on and that kind of thing. So looking forward to that. And that comes with like new like gear and stuff like that. Like, Don and I were talking a lot about like, like, I know Kayla's working on some stuff on the backside for us on like the logo side of things, and getting like some cool gear and like new like jerseys and stuff like that kind of implemented into the store, and some special stuff for the team. So if anybody that's yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if anybody's that's watching this and listening, if you're interested in being on Team Emerald City Disc, like, reach out to us. Like, let us know. Like, that's the best thing you can do, is like physically like come into the store and talk to us. Come on by and be like, yeah, I watched the show and I'm interested and this is what I'm doing, and that kind of thing. Like, make yourself known, and that's just gonna help your chances more than anything. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Ollie, you got anything else for us, or gonna move on to the tournament recap?
Uh, no, just I think it's gonna be awesome. I enjoyed talking with y'all. I feel like I got to learn more about y'all. I'm excited about what this future is gonna look like with ECD. Since I got into disc golf, I've loved ECD, so it's just so awesome hearing similar things that were just like resonating with me, with why you loved it, and I'm sure so many people are excited about this. So it's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I would
awesome to hear. And I really appreciate it. Glad to be part of the team now, and yeah, we look forward to an exciting rest of this year, and then kind of continuing to build on that as we move forward.
I would say, like, we know a ton of people in the community already, but if we don't know you, please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
We're out all the time. Like I said, we're at Lakewood or SeaTac most weekends when we're not doing a tournament. So those of you who are going to be in upcoming tournaments, say hi. We'd love to meet you.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and to kind of I guess kind of celebrate, I guess, in a way, having Don and Kaela coming into the store. We have about 100 new used discs going onto the used shelf. I know all you EC disc maniacs love used discs. We sell a ton of them here. I went through my shelf of Discmania stuff, so there's going to be a ton of Discmania. Don brought in a lot of Discmania. I'm looking at a huge stack of Rives, looking at a bunch of FD1s, FD3s, huge stack of Links. I think I brought in a bunch of MD3s. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So, come on by. Today we're gonna be putting them all on the used shelf. So for the next couple of days, take advantage. Come in, get some cool used discs all off the used shelf in here. All right, getting right into the tournament recap. This is presented by Emerald City Discs. Emerald City Discs, the gem of the Pacific Northwest. All right, getting right into it. We got Ladies of the Lake. Kaela was the tournament director. Kaela, take us away.
I was a co-tournament director with me and my friend
Sorry.
Melissa Catron, which was awesome. And Chuck Mintz was lending his assistance as well. Ladies of the Lake, part of the Evergreen Women Series. Super special tournament for me personally. It was my very first tournament 4 years ago. So for me, it kind of serves as this benchmark of my improvement. Which out of bounds I found this year. So I love Ladies of the Lake, and this was the sixth time that event has happened. So quite a legacy on that. Let me get into our winners. For FPO, in first place was Tess Warner. In second place, Jen Rice. And they were tied coming in and had a playoff on hole 1, and so just that one putt. And then Brandy Carlo came in third place. FP60 was the amazing Janice Jones. For those of you who know her, she's an incredible person. FA1, first place was Valerie Holtz. Second was Clarice Miller. And then we had a three-way tie for third place, Leilani Battle, Sarah Kalstad, and then Stephanie Cole. FA40, fellow box squatter Shayna Sherman. Came in first, Joanne Partridge in second, and Hannah Winter in third. FA50, I took down the win. Woo woo. Second place was Wendy Bates, and third place was Sherry Noland. FA60, first place Rhonda Schneider. Second place, Peta Cole. FA2, first place was Caroline Edwards. Second place, Jenny Awesome Saprinsky. And third place was Jaden Friedel. In FA3, first place, Veronica Fremling. Second place, Eva Schaefer. And a tie for third place between Tori Lopez and Erin Sweeney. They did a little playoff for the trophy, and Erin won that playoff. It was her first playoff experience, so she was super excited to do that.
That's fun.
And then FA4, Sophia Breed Speiler.
Yep.
Sophia, I'm going to talk to you about how to say your name.
See, it's tough.
Second place was Kylie Fernandez. And third place was Rana Jo Stratton. And then FJ12 was Maya Howard. For those of you, if you know, you know, Maya's trophy is epic. So
it was hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I want to give
Instagram.
I want to give a quick special shout out to Kylie Fernandez and Rhonda Jo Stratton. Both of them are regulars here at ECD. Awesome people. I've given Kylie and her partner a lesson before. Rhonda came in the day before the tournament and was just like, I'm really nervous. And I'm like, I have 2 pieces of advice for you. I was like, my first piece of advice is no one really cares what you do. Everyone's kind of caught up in their own game. So don't worry about people watching you. I was like, my second piece of advice, 2 ibuprofen and a Claritin in the morning sets you up right. So,
yeah.
But
and if it's real bad, find yourself an adult gummy.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, shout out to both Kylie and Rhonda, though. Both of them are regulars at ECD, and I was really, really happy for them to both be successful in the day. So,
I mean, it was so cool. I think, it was my first tournament, and for several of the women playing on this weekend, it was their first tournament too. So it's a super great way to introduce people to the sport and kind of celebrate them kind of joining our little community in the Evergreen series.
Yeah,
Um,
and Bex also did a really good job of doing photography. So,
yeah,
check out, those photos will probably be hitting the gram here pretty soon anyway. So take a
Sweet.
yeah,
look out for those.
yeah. She couldn't play, but she came. She painted rocks for people, so she was just sitting, kind of taking photos, and then painting rocks and handing them out. They were pretty epic. So thank you, Bex.
T-Bex.
Always.
Thanks.
And then I think, it was my first time being a TD, co-TD. There's some lessons learned. I don't think my performance probably reflected the fact that it was a first time TD. But that's fine. If you want to know what real power feels like, just hold like the line marking spray paint can thing in your hand and walk with it. I felt really empowered.
It's
The
a slippery
tournament went
slope,
really
though.
well.
Yeah.
Speaking of slippery slopes, the island, friends.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the island. I that was the very first line making I did, and Kirby was like, "No, just like walk. You're fine. Just do it."
Go for it.
And it started off pretty good, a little wide. It got a little straight at parts, so it kind of is more. It's avocado shaped, is how it turned out, with like the big tree being the pit of the avocado. And so while it was, a very robust shaped bottom of the avocado, those of you who had rollways, you're welcome. You had a little extra space to work with. Sorry.
It was very generous. It was a very generous line. It was, I think, a very
It
comical.
was like a large Haas avocado.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty comical situation on that. What was it, like Wednesday morning when we met up and you're like, so you're like, where do I draw the line? And I was just like, oh, I don't want to tell you that. I was like, it's, somewhere. And I kind of was like around here, but I was like, and I told her, I was like, I don't want to tell you where to draw this line and then have 45 women mad at me on Saturday over something I'm not involved in. I was like, I'm going to let you handle this. And like, so when you started, you're like, do I go here? And I was just like, go with your gut, like, do what you feel. And like, you must have stopped like 3-4 times and being like, am I doing this right? I was like, yeah, it's still, yeah, you're doing great, so everything was good. People were happy with how generous the island was, because I believe Chuck has made it like pretty small in the past. So I think you did great. I think everything looked good. You didn't miss any like Mandos or anything like that. Was there any issue with the drop zone on 18?
I moved it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So Kirby and I like marked the Mando using like this little concrete pad, thinking, look at this great footing. People will love great footing on this drop zone. But then like I went and played on Friday and got feedback from both men and women like, hey, how do you feel about this? And everyone was like, this is horrible. So I moved it a little just to give a still flat, but that little tiny tree that was just a roadblock to all dreams was
the
not
little guy
quite
on the right.
play.
Yeah.
The little guy on the right, which was just yeah, it was just there. So it got moved again based on both women and men who I ran into on Friday. So yeah.
It, in theory, it made a really good spot because it's a big concrete slab in the middle, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, this is like a great spot to just like throw from, but logistically it was like not the easiest. You already missed the Mando, and now you have like a little tunnel and a tree right here that's kind of in your way, and you can't really throw the swinging hyzer. So it definitely was more punishing than it needed to be, definitely. So
I think so.
It was still difficult. Like it didn't just get moved to the side either. It got like moved back also. So you still had a pretty decent throw to get up there. You probably weren't going to get you're definitely going to take a bogey if you miss the Mando. But yeah, you weren't going to like double or triple because you couldn't get through those trees.
Yeah. Anything else, Kayla?
No, I mean, I think like we lucked out with really good weather. It was, just like kind of overcast in the morning, which was awesome because it didn't get too hot too fast. In the afternoon, had a little breeze, but nothing that would really mess with anything. And then the holes that I assumed would be trouble were in fact trouble in terms of scoring. So like hole 4, we had a lot of debate on should it be a par 3 or par 4, and kind of landed on 3 and reward those who can get there, but the rest of us didn't.
Yeah, hole 4 is starting to get pretty tough to play because that bush in the middle is starting to grow in, and it's kind of hard to get a line through there now.
Yeah,
it used
and then
to be
17.
That used to be a
Go ahead.
huge tree that like had branches that extended to the left and to the right, and there was like a gap on the right that people would try to swing into. And then when that tree fell, that hole got like nerfed. It was so easy, and it was, I think we've been kind of spoiled by how easy that hole has been over the last couple of years, because now that that tree's starting to get up again, it's like it's really hard. It's like it's really really
Hmm.
challenging. I'll get into it in the Rat City Rumble, but that hole got my number, or that hole got me too. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then 17 turned into either a birdie if you can park it and stay in bounds, or not even a bogey, but more than a bogey.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people, you kind of hit and you had like the best shot ever, and then it just slowly rolls. Actually, I think the slow roll was a big theme on the whole day. Like you'd be standing somewhere and just watching someone's disc roll from hole 16 or 17, sad face, hole 7, So, but overall, it was a really, really good day, and our sponsors were awesome, and it was good times. It was exhausting, but it was good.
Good to hear. Glad you had a good experience. I'd love to see this tournament happen again next year. I know it's an event that like just the vibe in the shop afterwards of all the ladies coming over and using their script at
Yeah.
ECD, that like that was awesome. Everybody was just like super excited, good, like I said, good vibes. Everyone's feeling successful. They just like everyone was chatting about their round with each other, and it was a really really cool like hour of people just like in and out kind of thing. So yeah, I'd love to see this event happen
I mean,
again next year. Hopefully you're involved in it, Kayla. Love to see you run it
yeah,
again.
I mean, I think like that's like another like, kind of little change was it was really awesome. I messaged, Kirby and was like, can you just stay a little longer so women can come spin their script like right now? Because we finished, right around 4:30-ish. And so to be able to have the opportunity for people just to like hop on over, especially for those coming from out of town, was just a really big benefit. So it was
Yeah.
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's I think it was also nice to have like the entire selection of discs versus just kind of like a small selection there
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
tournament. But like that being there at Lakewood kind of afforded us that opportunity where like we don't normally get that at like South Fork, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, bring what you can out there for sure. All right, we'll get right into the Rat City Rumble. Ollie, do you have that celebration horn music going? You got that ready? Hit it for me,
Celebration horn
baby.
music.
Yeah, you know that little celebration song that we had going for a second there?
I was just imagining that. Pew, 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 pew,
The
pew,
background
pew.
one, like
yeah,
the
good
end one, maybe.
soundboard up.
No, never mind. Never mind. It's fine. No, remember there was
Just like
like we were like, remember that like there was like fuck, I can't remember what it was called. That's fine. We'll cut all this part out. It's cool.
no,
Um,
we're not. Keep
no, we're
going.
not. This is all staying in. All right, we're gonna get right into the Rat City Rumble. This was happening on Sunday, hosted by Chuck Mintz. Interesting to think that this is potentially, and not definitely, but potentially the last time that Hole 3 will ever be played in tournament at Lakewood. For those that don't know, yeah, Hole 3 is probably going to get changed. I don't know when, but I know it's definitely on the docket to get basically removed and turned into like a parking lot, from what I understand. So interesting to think that this could potentially be the last time that Hole's ever played in tournament. A lot of aces for the day. I believe there was 5 aces. Round one, there
Wow.
was 2 aces, and both of them were on the people's last hole, which is really, really crazy that basically 2 aces happened probably within 5 to 10 minutes of each other. So that was pretty interesting. I know round two, another ace
What
happened on the
was the
guys.
ace pot? Did everybody get like $2.50?
Oh, I'm sure they got like $40 because there's not much. And I know some people like I know one guy on our card was like, I didn't even put it into the ace pot, and it was like, why? Why would you not, man? You can accidentally
Why?
bring
Yeah,
money.
that
Like
was
it's falling out here. Gregory Temple got 2 aces in the same day. He got one before we started our round. We're standing there on hole one. I'm like putting, and I turn around. He goes, "I just rang up hole one." I go, "That sucks." I was like, "You can't get it now." And then he was having a tough second round, and it hit a point where I think he was just ace running everything, and he picked up is that hole 10, the shorty kind of going down the hill there. So um, he was feeling good, even though he had like a cruddy second round. I know he was like pumped to get two in the same day kind of deal. So That was
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, good time overall. Good vibes for the whole day. People were excited to play a tournament, another tournament at Lakewood. It's been a really, really long time since one's been out there. We're gonna get into the winners real quick. I took down MPO. I'm back, baby. Back to back 1,000 rated rounds after a cruddy 2 weeks. Yes, we're throwing short shots, but I threw the short shots exactly how I wanted to, and I didn't have any like I can't believe that came out of my hand that way type of thing. So this was a great reset for me. It really felt like my games, like I'm just throwing crisper again. So still got to work on my putt. I really didn't make any putt outside of like 28 feet for the whole weekend, but then again, I didn't have many opportunities to do that either. So um, I beat out Tim Tankley, who shot an awesome first round. Eric Sebastian came in third place. Um, kind of, so it was really interesting. Tim and I, we were going shot for shot pretty much down until, what is that? What's Kayla, original hole 16 or during the 20 hole layout 16? Is that hole 14?
Yeah.
So, okay, on
14
hole
in the tournament, the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so on hole 15 then, I have the tee box. I am down one stroke to Tim. I put my drive 5 feet, 10 feet to the right of the basket. I'm basically parked like right there. And Tim puts his drive. I thought it was like 28 feet. He said it was like 35, 36 feet, 38 feet, something like that, over to the left. So it's his putt, and it's downhill, granted, and he just laid up. And I'm like, I'm right here. And I literally like looked at John Geiger, who's John Geiger is an absolute gem of a person, awesome dude. But I looked at John and I go, what the hell is that? And he's like, what? I go, he just laid up to tie me. I was like, I don't understand. I was like, I don't know if I understand that play with only like 3 holes left. So I was a little like, I don't know what happened here. So I kind of, go and I make my putt. So now we're tied. And then we step up to hole 16. And I put my drive about 28 feet, 30 feet short, 25 feet short, maybe, but inbounds. And Tim steps up and he throws his forehand out of bounds. So he's looking at taking bogey. I'm looking at taking par. And there's the stroke difference of the win there. But I kind of want to ask you guys and kind of put your guys in Tim's shoes in that situation. You're back at hole 15. You're looking at 35 feet, we'll say, kind of downhill. But if you give up this stroke, like you're gonna lose your lead. Do you do that and do you do that and know that you're just gonna go in for like a tie going in for the last 3 holes, or do you at least like put it up and try to run the putt with the hopes to make it and conserve your lead for another couple of holes? Like, what do you guys think would have been your play there?
I'm at least going soft bid. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm at least going soft bid there. Like I carry those Flex One P1s so that I can run some of those without too much of like a comebacker. Like as long
Mm-hmm.
as I hit metal, of course. But yeah, you gotta run that. You can't
Yeah.
like 17's too easy. You're basically birdie or die on that hole. And then you go into 18, and then like at the MPO level, like everybody's going to get at least a 3 on that one. So like yeah,
I
like that's
I
your
did
one
take
chance to kind of.
I did take a 5 during round one on hole 18. So I don't know if that was in his head of being like, oh, maybe Kirby might try to like do too
Could
much
be.
here again, kind of thing. But I mean, that was literally the only thing I did during the lunch break because I had some like beef jerky out of the car, and then I ran to hole 18 and just threw that for
I
like
mean,
40
was he
minutes.
having a bad putting day? Because I could see where,
His putt's good.
yeah,
It's
if he was
like
having a bad putting
crispy.
day, I could see where you might just like lay up.
His putt's usually like pretty crispy and pretty flat and rides really really clean. So I it was a putt that in my head I was like, he's gonna can this. Like I just knowing his game and playing with him and his brother enough, I'm like, man, like this guy's got that putt in the bag. So, um, Kayla, what do you think, given a similar situation at least?
I mean, on round two, I got CTP prize and was maybe like 23 feet out, maybe. Ran it, rolled down the hill, like I did the whole thing. So I think in particular that hole in 16, like if you're in your head at all for any small amount of anything on
Okay.
that putt, like it's really hard to confidently just run it. So I kind of agree with Don. Like if you've got the skill, I'm not there yet, to soft bid something and try, like I would do it. But like it mostly speaks to a mental game and like kind of where you feel like, do you feel like you can hit it? Like that's how I would approach it, I
Mm.
guess.
Yeah, I'm more like that because I feel like if you have any ounce of doubt, it's like if you do roll away, you're not going in tied now, you're going in down. So it's
Yeah.
like I might as well secure this and like put the ball in your court. Let's go like play this last 3 holes like 1v1, you know, like I'm going to
Yeah.
take my shots, you take yours, and I just think I can beat you. I think it's a perfectly fine and still competitive mindset. I don't think it's like giving away anything, but it's just saying I don't want anything to do with that hill on the backside. And it also just depends where you're at on that hole. But
Yeah.
I
I could
I'll
see
I, I don't hate
also
it.
I could
I'll
also
say
see like wind playing into it, and like if you let the other person, if you just par and you go safe, then that assures you have at least one read on the next hole.
Yeah.
And in particular, like depending on what hole you're on, like it could give you a bit of an advantage to see kind of where the wind,
Yeah.
especially on those long holes, you never know which way the wind is shifting for that specific
Yeah,
hole.
and it could be too that like seeing your disc 5 feet away, like if you were also like roughly 30 feet away, like that may have changed the calculus a little bit too. It's sort of like, well,
Yeah.
definitely going to get this birdie, so I need to not hammer your stroke here. Like if you go long and roll down that hill
Yeah.
and potentially roll out of bounds, that could be like 2 strokes right there.
yeah. I mean,
I can see
he
that, but I feel like there's a way to do that without.
I think his mind is in the next hole too. He's not going to throw it out of bounds. Obviously, he's like, I'm going to throw a good shot on this next hole because he did park it round one. Um,
Yeah.
but just as like the other side of that, like on from like my point of view, it really just was like, hey, he opened the door like wide open. Whereas like I was kind of going into these last few holes being like, man, not much opportunity to like edge, like get a stroke on him here, like he's throwing really crisp shots. He's a good putter, so I'm like, man, he and I are just gonna like birdie out here, and there's nothing I can do, to take a stroke on him. So to watch him kind of lay that up was like well, hey, like doors open, like this kind of, it doesn't change the fact that I still need to birdie out, but like maybe there's a more opportunity here than I thought, kind of thing, so like it definitely kind of sparked my, like kind of got me going a little bit because I was like, hey, like doors open again kind of deal. So I think that's kind of the other side of that is like I don't like
Yeah, I mean, I think
I
maybe that's the.
like I don't like leaving the door open for other people. Like I'd rather have it be like I would run that putt like 9 out of 10 times depending on the weather or depending on like really intense wind, just because in my mind I'm like, hey, if I can this, then like I got the lead, I got him by, there's really not much he can do to take more strokes on me, and my plan is to at least like hit metal and kind of like drop or something like that. So um I just thought it was interesting. I mean, Tim's like, he's an awesome player,
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
so good. So
maybe the
like,
way to think about that.
was that
Yeah, maybe the way to think about it's less about his decision making and then your ability to like see that and take advantage of it, right? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
maybe his decision's probably irrelevant, but it's more about like you're like, okay, well, hey, now I've got a little bit more of an opening there, so let me take advantage of that.
Yeah. It really, I mean, it definitely like re-sparked, because I was definitely going into those holes being like, dang, nothing I can do here. But yeah, opportunities, like small opportunities, like go far for like certain competitors. So shut the door. I think that's kind of I guess my kind of mentality is like if you have the chance to shut the door, like you should try to shut the door, I think. Sure.
All right, so the winners of the Rat City Rumble, we got Kirby Snyder in first place, Tim Tenkley in second, and Eric Sebastian in third for MPO. Rob Gunn at MP50 winner. We got Don Clark, MP60 winner. I got to play with Don Clark in that second round. Very excited. First time getting to play with him. Joy to play
Yeah,
with.
he's got a monster forehand too. That guy can
Dude,
rip.
the body English, the way he throws, everything, I was just like enthralled with it. I loved it. MA1, we got our boys, Peter Anderson and Alexander Maccabee 1-2, and then Tim Becker also tying for second, and Jay McTown tying for fourth. MA40, Dan O'Brien took the W and Adam Croft in second, and Joey Suya in third. MA60, the motherfucking GOAT, Chuck Knutson, taking down an MA60 win, and Mike Knuckle in second. MA3 Kelton Hammer taking down the win over one of my goats, Michael. Let's go. Go! And that's your winners for the 2025 Rat City Rumble.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats, everybody. Hey, real quick on Lakewood, we talked about hole 3 being parking lotted. Like, has there been any talk that anybody knows of like how that hole will be reimagined, or maybe even what will happen to Lakewood? Like, we're losing holes there, so I'm kind of Chuck Mintz and I were talking about like where would you put a new 3, and there's kind of not a lot of space there. So it's kind of interesting like how that course is starting to evolve with like the school going in over where the old hole 10, 11, 12 were, and then now with 3 getting taken over, and course is starting to whittle away slowly.
Shrinking.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go with that. I know there's a couple of the longer holes that they've already chopped up, and there's some shorter ones back there. But it will be interesting to see like what land we do have to use, if there is any back there, and we lost her.
Yeah, because we were thinking like maybe like you put a tee box that I mean it's a short hole, but you put like a tee box over kind of by the bicycle park area, kind of over towards hole 2, so you kind of make it sort of a straight shot. But that's such a short hole, like you don't really want that hole, and then also 13 being like 150 feet or something like that. You might be able to repurpose like the short pin position on 4 and tee off from there, and then use the long pin position for hole 4, but that fairway gets a little bit jammed up.
Ravens Run was also happening this weekend down at Lucky Mud in Skamakawa, Washington, ran by Sarah Fletcher and Aiden Fletcher. Amazing property, amazing people that run it. Winning MPO was Colin Bryant. He had an insane 1046 and 1061 back-to-back rounds. Huge event rating for him.
Wow.
Beating out Daniel Pfaff and Jeremy Marsh. Winning FPO was Sally West beating out Corey Gerber Dolan. Shine Sanderson beat out Jason Kenway and Kenny Clark for MP40. Taylor Foth beat out Jody Dixon for FP40. Bill Winkler won MP50, beating out Kevin Merrill. James Hustis taking down MP60 over Steve Bell. Christine Hustis winning MP60, little husband-wife winning combo there. Toby Horner, North Park guy, winning MA1, beating out Eli Grease and Kevin Bragg and Ray Nugent, who tied for 3rd. Aaron Wesley beating out Guy Forsling and Grant Ruby for MA40. FA40 was won by Patricia Turner. MA50 was won by Timothy Cotton, beating out Richard Eastman and Barrett Skinner. Jim Hansen taking down MA60. Blake Fetzer taking down MA2 over Brian Witter and Benjamin Huff. And then winning MJ12 was Tatum Sullivan, beating out Aiden Fletcher and Apollo Recchia. Congratulations to all of them, especially for the kids that came out and played. Looks like Tatum and Aiden actually went to a playoff at plus 19, so really good. I mean, they shot 852 and 830, so really good scores out of the MJ12 division. So congratulations to everyone out there. Ollie, you want to hit us with the weather look ahead or the intro to it?
Yep, this is the weather look ahead presented by AGL. Together we can reduce, reuse, and recycle for a greener future for disc golf. Let's go.
That hits hard, man. Nice job. All right.
We got for this weekend in Auburn, Saturday, we got a low of 60 and a high of 78, partially cloudy with some sun. Same on Sunday, 56 with a high of 75. Should be a nice weather down there. And then over in Stanwood, Washington, we got in Kayak Point County Park area on Saturday. We'll have a high of 68 degrees with partial cloudy with sun, which I think is kind of the ideal disc golfing weather. You don't want it to be too
amazing.
hot. Yeah, it sounds amazing. Sunday, the similar weather there. Yeah, so looking forward to those there. We have no 90-second breakdown this week. It's Worlds Week, so be excited for a good one there. Hopefully fill out the 90 seconds. And we'll do that. And then to answer the KO disc golf question of the week, what is y'all's best song for disc golf?
Man.
I have two.
Okay.
So one is kind of like my pump up, like go song, which is Bang by AJR. And part of it is just because I use it as like a bang, bang, bang. Like in my head, I do that. And then always classic Lose Yourself, Eminem. In particular, like on a putt, you only get one shot, you know, like both those songs just get me going.
Heck yeah.
Man, I'm the opposite. I don't necessarily have a song, but like I definitely go for that like late 90s, early 2000s electronic like lounge jazz vibe. I got to calm down. I'm too hyped up. So I gotta like chill, get in the right headspace, and then just bring the temperature down a little bit.
That's what's up. I'd say I listen to a lot of different genres of music. It's one of my things I like try to do. Like if I have a bad hole and I'm listening to a song and it's like a rap song, I have a bunch of different kind of styles of music. So if I hit next, it's like Adele next or something, and it like totally throws my brain off, and I start thinking a little differently and stuff like that. And like, or I'll have a bunch of jazz on there, old jazz I really like to listen to sometimes. But then it'll be like Brazilian funk music, and then some like house music, and it's just a lot of different stuff there. So. But if I had one song, I have like a more funny song. It's called Saki Bomb. It's on it's by and I just think it's hilarious. My buddy Sean showed it to me, and it's something I always just laugh at and cherish at, and it's just a fun song. It's about Saki Bomb. Yeah, look it up. And Kirby's fighting his way back in here. I don't even know.
Keeps popping in and out.
I'm trying so hard over here. All right, well, this is fun, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that's about where we're at. Really appreciate y'all coming on. I think we're just gonna skip out of the draft because I think it might be a little hard technical wise, but that's okay. Really, really appreciate you. I know this is like a new chapter for ECD that everyone is really excited for. I'm so excited for. I wasn't really talking about it with anyone, but I was able to talk to like my girlfriend about it, and she was really excited for it. So it's just I can already tell like it's something people will be looking forward to. It was great to get to know y'all better. Look forward to getting around in with you too. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Definitely encourage anyone, like they said, go say hi, go introduce themselves. Y'all are two really, really great, nice people and a cornerstone in our community. Kirby's showing off ECD. Beautiful, beautiful ECD. But just thank you again for taking time out of your day to come do this. I know some people will have questions. Some people just want to know who you are. And so it really means a lot. And so appreciate y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us on the show. Please come by and say hi, and love to chop it up with you or go play around. But definitely see you at the next tournament. We'll be at White River this weekend.
Sweet.
So look for us there.
I don't know if I'm doing. I think I have like a weird work schedule week, but I wasn't able to get the tournament. But maybe I'll drop by and just hang out and support. That's always a fun time. Get some.
I mean, I can always use a caddy.
Yeah, hey, I'm a pretty good caddy. To end things here, we got episode 68. A little quote. We'll go with. I thought I had one ready. Now I'm like looking through a couple quotes that I'm like. All right, episode 68. No tats on the right arm, strictly for buckets. Nick Young, 2014. Aim high, shoot low.
Boom.
We'll see you next week. Peace.